Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris Jackson, recently became the center of intense public concern after she was seen walking alone in Malibu on a quiet Wednesday afternoon. What was supposed to be an ordinary stroll through the sunny Californian coastal town quickly turned into an emotionally revealing moment that was captured by paparazzi lenses and quickly circulated across social media platforms. At just 27 years old, Paris, a model, musician, and the only daughter of the king of pop, appeared visibly distressed as she made her way through the streets. Her eyes glistened with tears, her expression one of weariness and vulnerability. For many, it was a startling reminder of just how much pressure and pain she still carries, both as a public figure and as the child of one of the most recognizable men in history. She was dressed simply, wearing a brown short-sleeved shirt, paired with gray biking shorts that clung to her slender frame. Her shoes, chunky sneakers with gray socks, added a casual edge to the outfit, while a collection of bracelets and layered necklaces gave her look an effortlessly bohemian feel. Her platinum blonde hair, pulled back into a loose and messy ponytail, seemed to reflect the unfiltered rawness of her emotional state. There was no glam, no polished facade, just a young woman walking through her thoughts and trying to process emotions in plain sight of the world. While it's not unusual for celebrities to be photographed during daily errands, something about these images struck a nerve with fans and critics alike. Perhaps it was the raw emotion on her face, the tears that couldn't be hidden behind sunglasses or a smile, or maybe it was the timing of it all. The photos were taken just a few weeks after the world marked the 16th anniversary of Michael Jackson's untimely death, a date that Paris has admitted is deeply painful for her and her family. For some, those wounds still feel fresh, despite the passing of time. And for Paris, who was only 11 years old when she lost her father, the pain has taken many shapes over the years: grief, confusion, anger, and an ongoing struggle for identity. In a world that has always known her first as Michael Jackson's daughter, the burden of that legacy is immense. It's a weight few people could ever fully understand, to be the child of a man so worshipped, so dissected, so mythologized. Michael Jackson wasn't just a superstar. He was a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of musical genius, a controversial figure, and a public obsession. Paris didn't choose the spotlight, but it was beamed onto her from the moment she was born. She's had to grow up under its glare, her mistakes magnified, her growth scrutinized, and her emotions often reduced to tabloid headlines. Just a few weeks before the Malibu sighting, Paris had already appeared stressed during a tense outing with her fiancé, actor Justin Long, 46, also in Malibu. Observers noted a sense of agitation in her body language, though it's unclear what may have caused the apparent tension. Some have speculated that the stress may be linked not only to her grieving process and fan backlash, but also to the immense pressure of maintaining a career in music and fashion while navigating deeply personal battles that have trailed her. Since childhood, Paris' life hasn't been easy. After Michael Jackson died on June 25, 2009 from acute propofol intoxication that led to cardiac arrest, the world mourned the loss of an icon. But for Paris, the loss was far more intimate. She had lost her father, her protector, the man who called her his princess. Overnight, her childhood changed forever. Thrust into a maelstrom of media chaos, family disputes, and public mourning, Paris had to learn how to navigate life without her biggest supporter, while being constantly reminded of him by the world. Around her since then, she has fought to carve out her own identity, not as an echo of Michael Jackson, but as Paris Jackson, a young woman with her own voice, her own passions, and her own pain. And yet, she continues to face an uphill battle. This became especially clear in recent weeks when she found herself the target of online criticism for a tour performance scheduled on the anniversary of her father's death. In a series of candid Instagram stories, Paris confronted the backlash head-on. She addressed her 5 million followers, visibly frustrated yet composed, and offered an explanation for what some fans had deemed disrespectful. "So people are mad again," she began. "I guess one of the dates I'm supposed to be going out on." tour with Incubus and Manchester Orchestra happens to be June 25th, which is a very negative anniversary for me in my life and my family. Her tone was honest, her words pointed. She didn't shy away from the pain or the complexity of the situation. Instead, she laid bare a reality that many fans might not fully grasp: the lack of control she has over certain aspects of her career. When you're not headlining these shows, you don't pick what date you perform, she explained, trying to bridge the gap between her own grief and the business obligations of her career. She went further, stripping away any illusions of luxury or entitlement. Unlike her father, who toured with massive entourages and stayed in five-star hotels, Paris emphasized the modesty of her current musical journey. "It's just me and my acoustic guitar and my sound guy, who happens to be my fiancé," she revealed, noting that they'd be traveling in a simple soccer mom van, not a tour bus or private jet. There was something almost poetic about the contrast. The daughter of the world's most iconic pop star, traveling cross-country with just a guitar and love as her companions. Paris made it clear that she chose to be part of the tour. She was not about to let grief or public perception dictate her choices. "So I'm gonna tell 'em, sorry, guys, we can't perform on this date," she said sarcastically, before bluntly adding, F*********. It was a sharp response, but one that captured the frustration of someone who has been expected to grieve publicly on command, to honor her father in ways that please others, and to live up to a legacy she didn't ask for. To further underline her point, she reposted a comment from a fan account, perhaps as a way of feeling supported, understood. In that moment, it wasn't just about defending herself, it was about taking back control over her narrative. She has spent much of her life having that story written for her, by the press, by fans, by strangers with opinions. But this time, she was speaking her truth, unapologetically. Still, despite her efforts to maintain control, there's no denying that moments like the one in Malibu reveal just how fragile the balance can be. Fame has never been a friend to Paris. It has been a shadow that follows her everywhere, in joy, in pain, in growth, in mistakes. The Malibu walk wasn't just a walk. It was a metaphor for everything she's carrying: the weight of legacy, the burden of public scrutiny, the complexity of loss, and the struggle to find peace in a world that rarely allows her privacy. Over the years, Paris has spoken openly about her battles with depression, self-harm, and suicidal ideation. She's been candid about her stays in treatment facilities and the long road to healing. It takes strength to be that honest in a world that often punishes vulnerability. But Paris continues to share, not to be pitied, but to be understood, and to let others know they're not alone. She has also poured much of that pain into her art. Her music, which blends folk, rock, and alternative influences, often explores themes of heartache, loneliness, and existential longing. Her voice, ethereal, yet grounded, carries the weight of someone who has felt deeply and lived through more than most people her age. Her debut album, Wilted, released in 2020, was a melancholic exploration of love and loss. A raw and introspective body of work that proved she's not just the daughter of a legend, she's an artist in her own right. Paris has never been interested in replicating her father's career. She's not trying to be the next pop phenomenon. Instead, she's chosen a path of authenticity, even when it's painful. She writes her own songs, performs without autotune, and surrounds herself with people who love her not for her name, but for her heart. It's a rare and admirable path, especially in an industry that often values image over substance.